The fluorescent lights of the office hummed faintly as Emily Carter hurried across the marble lobby, clutching her daughter's tiny hand. At just 6 years old, Lily was pale and feverish, her cheeks flushed, but Emily had no choice. She was out of sick days, her rent was overdue, and her manager had made it clear, miss one more shift and don't bother coming back. So here she was, desperate, exhausted, and praying her daughter would manage to rest quietly in the corner of her cubicle until her shift ended. Emily hadn't chosen this life. She was only 21 when she found out she was pregnant. The father, her college boyfriend, vanished the moment he heard the news. No calls, no support, nothing. For 6 years, she had worked herself to the bone, juggling night shifts, swallowing pride, and doing whatever it took to keep Lily fed and safe. As she settled Lily on a chair beside her desk with a blanket and a bottle of water, Emily whispered softly, "Just rest, sweetheart. Mommy will be right here." Lily gave a weak nod, her big hazel eyes blinking slowly. Emily's heart clenched. God, please don't let her fever get worse. Around 10 o'clock, the usually quiet office buzzed. The CEO was visiting, Alexander Hayes, brilliant, powerful, and known for being intimidatingly distant. At 40, he was one of the youngest tech executives in the country. Emily had only seen him from afar. He never spoke to people like her, low-level assistants barely scraping by. Still, she straightened her desk nervously as his entourage of executives swept through the floor. That's when it happened. Lily, half asleep, stirred and let out a soft cough. Her blanket slipped, and she peered up right as Alexander Hayes walked past. Her voice, weak but clear, broke the air. "Daddy." The entire floor froze. Executives stopped mid-step. Heads turned. Emily's heart plummeted into her stomach. "No, no, no," she whispered, rushing to hush Lily. "Sweetheart, you must be dreaming." But it was too late. Alexander Hayes had stopped in his tracks. His sharp blue eyes locked on the little girl. His face went pale. He looked as though he'd seen a ghost. Time seemed to stretch endlessly as Alexander slowly walked toward them. Emily's pulse thundered. She opened her mouth to explain, to apologize, but no words came out. Alexander crouched in front of Lily. His usually commanding voice softened. "What did you say?" he asked gently. Lily, clutching her blanket, blinked up at him. "Daddy," she repeated, before leaning her head back against the chair, too tired to notice the storm she'd just unleashed. Alexander's jaw tightened. His eyes flickered to Emily, searching, demanding answers. And in that instant, Emily saw it, the resemblance, the same sharp jawline, the same blue eyes. Her stomach dropped. Could it be? After dismissing his entourage, Alexander led Emily into a private office. She tried to steady her shaking hands. "I swear, I didn't plan this," she blurted out. "I brought her because I had no choice. She's sick and I couldn't leave her home alone. Please, Mr. Hayes." But he raised a hand, silencing her. His eyes weren't cold anymore. They were filled with something else. Shock, fear, regret. "What's her name?" he asked quietly. "Lily," Emily whispered. He closed his eyes as if the name itself was a punch to the chest. Then came the words that made Emily's world tilt. "I knew your mother once," he said slowly. "In college, before I left everything behind to start this company." Emily's breath caught. Her daughter, his daughter. The truth she had never dared to imagine was staring her in the face. Tears stung her eyes. She wanted to scream at him, to demand why he hadn't been there, why she had struggled alone all these years while he lived in luxury. But Lily stirred again, coughing harder this time. Emily rushed to her side, cradling her. "Shh, baby, mommy's here." Alexander stood frozen, watching, and for the first time in years, his carefully constructed mask cracked. He saw not just an employee, not just a child, but the family he never knew he had. Without a word, he pulled out his phone. "Get the company doctor in here immediately," he ordered. Emily blinked. "Wait. What?" But within minutes, a physician arrived, examining Lily and reassuring Emily that it was just a viral fever, nothing life-threatening. Emily felt the weight lift off her chest. Then Alexander turned to her. "You should have told me," he said, his voice rough. Her hands shook as she replied, "Would you have cared? You're the CEO of a billion-dollar company. I'm just me." He didn't answer right away. Instead, he knelt beside Lily again, brushing a strand of hair from her forehead. His eyes shimmered with something Emily never expected, regret mixed with determination. The next morning, everything changed. Emily was called into Alexander's office. She braced herself for the worst, maybe even being fired. But instead, he handed her a folder. Inside was a promotion, triple her salary, full health care for her and Lily, and flexible hours to care for her daughter. Emily's eyes filled with tears. I don't understand. Why are you doing this? Alexander's voice was steady, but heavy with emotion. Because I should have been there from the start. Because no child should grow up without support. And because I want to be part of her life, if you'll allow it. It wasn't easy. Trust takes time. Pain doesn't vanish overnight. But for the first time in years, Emily didn't feel alone. Lily's fevers eventually passed, replaced with giggles and smiles whenever Alexander visited. Slowly walls came down, slowly healing began, and one evening as Emily tucked Lily into bed, her daughter whispered, "Mommy, I think Daddy's my hero." Emily smiled through tears. Maybe life hadn't gone the way she planned. But maybe, just maybe, it had led them exactly where they were meant to be. Sometimes, the world shows us its harshest side, forcing us to carry burdens we should never have to bear. But then, just when we're at the edge of breaking, humanity steps in. A moment of kindness, a choice of compassion, and everything changes. Because at the end of the day, we're all just looking for connection, for love, for the reminder that none of us are truly alone.